A few weeks ago, AdHoc Studios released a Christmas-themed dispatch artwork. And when I saw it, I was like, nice holiday image. But if we look closer, I think it might actually tell us what the intended outcome of Season 1 is. But before we get into that, there are two important questions we need to answer. Is this artwork actually canon, and where does it fit within the dispatch timeline? The timeline part is fairly clear. The events of Season 1 do not take place during Christmas, and Robert didn't work for SDM before Season 1, meaning that the artwork has to be set after the events of Season 1. The bigger question is whether this artwork itself is canon. Officially, AdHoc Studios hasn't confirmed if it's canon or not, but it was made by one of the art directors, and I think that's a strong argument that it could be canon. Dispatch fans are clearly hungry for more content, and Season 2 is still a long way off, likely not until late 2026 at the earliest, and releasing artwork is an easy way to keep the community engaged and make theories and stuff like that. So I think, there is a huge possibility that this could be canon. Let's take a closer look and try to figure out what this could actually mean for the quote-unquote canon ending of Dispatch Season 1. The first thing I noticed is that Sona and Coop are both on the picture, meaning that Z-Team manages to save LA from the Red Ring, and that Robert welcomes whoever ends up getting cut to rejoin Z-Team. Because the only way you can welcome Coop or Sona back into Z-Team at the end of Episode 8 is if you defeat them during the dispatching gameplay at Episode 8. The second thing I noticed has to do with the actual ending of the game. Dispatch has two endings that can vary based on your earlier decisions, but the main outcome always comes down to either romancing Blonde Blazer or Invisigal, while supporting Courtney, leading her to embrace heroism over villainy, or romancing either Blonde Blazer or Invisigal while being a bad mentor to Invisigal, leading her to embrace villainy over heroism. Now, if we look at the artwork, we can clearly see Invisigal sitting on a counter next to Robert and Blonde Blazer. That means the true canon ending is romancing Blonde Blazer or Invisigal and being a proper mentor to Courtney, leading her to embrace heroism over villainy and not becoming the next Shroud. Now, for the last point, we need to take a closer look at Blonde Blazer and Chase. As we know, at the end of Dispatch, Chase borrows the amulet that allows Mandy to become Blonde Blazer in order to get him out of the infirmary. But in the artwork, we can see Mandy wearing the amulet again, and Chase being still old but healthy. This can mean two things. Either Chase wore the amulet long enough to recover from his injuries and no longer needs to wear it to stay alive, and now STN is actively searching for a permanent solution for his issue. Or they might have found a way to fix his problem. Personally, the last one feels a bit off. In the ending, Mandy specifically says that Chase will borrow the amulet until they find a solution. And I originally assumed they'd try to make him younger again, but that kind of seems impossible. So the more realistic outcome is that either Chase recovered from his injuries or they managed to stop the aging issue entirely. But he still has to live as an old man. On the other hand, this game is about superheroes, and a magical amulet can make you a blonde superhero. Maybe realism is not really an issue here. Now, again, we're gonna ask the question, is this canon or not? Personally, I want it to be canon. It's been a bit over a month since Dispatch ended, and I'm honestly starving for more, like the rest of the community. I already replayed the game multiple times. I'm currently my 5th playthrough, and my Instagram feed is just basically Dispatch. Because I like every single reel that has to do with Dispatch. The algorithm doesn't stop feeding it to me. I'm listening to the music, the soundtrack, basically everything. I even recently came across a TikToker making a Dispatch fanfiction audiobook. People are doing little comics and drawings, artwork, cosplay, and I'm completely in for all of it. Dispatch very quickly became my favorite game. The characters are great. I love every single moment of it. And yeah, it kind of hurts knowing we won't see more episodes for at least a year, maybe even 2. But that makes sense, right? We want a good season 2. We want it to be done right, so we'll be satisfied with it. And still, I'm starving for more content, and AdHoc definitely knows that. And hey, maybe they thought, let's give them something small in the meantime, a little artwork, and I hope we get to see more of that, whether that's more artwork or eventually a proper season 2 confirmation.